Alright, it is that time again. Updates not yet live. Sorcerer Stone recipes updated. So we'll get to see if you go and check now, which we'll do in a second. All these checks we'll check soon. Sorcerer Stones are going to be updated. Sorcerer Stone Exchange are going to be updated. So it'll be interesting to see how these are going to be different. So on global launch, the Sorcerer Stone recipes were massively changed. The numbers were way up. So it'll be interesting to see what other kind of changes are going to come. Now, Sorcerer Stone Exchange, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Maybe it's going to add more. Maybe the amounts are going to change. I've got no idea. Absolutely no idea. I wasn't expecting those types of changes. But Mordu added to the premium exchange. So now he's not going to be only in the tournament exclusive area. He's also going to be in the premium exchange. And no longer Shan and Mordu are going to be the tournament exclusives. They're going to be farmable. Massive. This is absolutely massive for most players. Now, Mordu is going to be where formerly Captain Hook was in the heroes farm. Now in villains, you'll be able to get Shan, formerly where Korra was. What? I never saw that coming. But with the addition to Anna into the tournament exchange, maybe we're having a little see that they're going to be starting to change things up, and that'll be exciting. I'd love to see things change up. And there was once a day when there were a certain amount of characters that were available in the tournament exchange, and they used to rotate through, but it was random who would show up each time. And I kind of like that. And I wouldn't mind if they go back to something like that and add more characters into it, but have them random and have some, say, maybe more exclusive characters. Say have your 100% tournament exclusives at the top, that's fine, leave them not rotating, and then have all the other ones below rotating through, and then maybe have a few very rare characters, and maybe some, be nice if they added 1 or 2 event ones in there to be extremely rare. They have to go and try, and you'll be like, oh, they're here, and then buy. But maybe something for the future. That could be quite cool though. I'd love to see that, especially after what has been happening with the exchanges. So especially if the events get a bit older and we see double up events, it'd be nice if some of them started popping up into other tabs of the exchanges, so then you can, when there becomes new super pay to play events coming in where they're only available in the event itself, it'd be nice if some of the older events became more available like this. And that is kind of what we've seen in the past. So exciting times. Maybe that's going to start happening for, say, Onward and Incredibles after maybe a few more cycles, potentially. Massive changes. It's just been sitting just above there. Spell changes. Spirit of Mufasa has moved to being an AoE ability to single target. Wow. All other effects are unchanged. Wow. That is massive hard nerf for Spirit of Mufasa. So I was saying in my last video about how Spirit of Mufasa is far better than foul play and things like that. Not anymore. Well, it's still going to be good and it still have their different benefits. But wow. It definitely didn't need to be full team AoE. 100% it didn't need to be full team AoE. But I think this is going to be another candidate now of a spell being nerfed too much. And this is going to be the new standard of how they're going to have their spells, all single target. But I think, I don't mind there being, say, adjacent and flanking spells. I think that is good for the game. I think that is good for positioning. And having all AoE or just all single target, it doesn't solve the problem of something being OP. I would like to have adding more depth into certain things like flanking and the adjacent create different opportunities in playstyle with placement that AoE and single target just don't do. So I wouldn't mind seeing, say, spell. I wouldn't mind seeing, say, wand or Spirit of Mufasa going to maybe Spirit of Mufasa could be. It's hard. That is so hard. The way things are changing. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Because I was gonna say it could be flanking, but just as animation just comes up and it doesn't look like a flanking animation, although they can do what they want really. Suppose you could do the same thing for flanking or for adjacent. So who knows? But I will have to either wait and see. But the way things are going, I'd say there are going to be a lot more spell changes and nerfs. I hope they all don't go to single target and one not very great use. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, fixes. When I saw this, I was like, oh, fixes. Using Golden Hammer now currently doesn't double up on the leadership ability. I thought they had fixed Golden Hammer on its 3rd level. It's meant to give a speed boost, which just doesn't happen. And I was like, whoa, they've fixed a visual bug. They've fixed a visual bug that used to duplicate the leadership ability symbol. So that's it. Wow. Alright, now going down, and there is the Misc Changes, which is extending the frozen pass order to the 17th of June. So that's interesting that they're increasing the pass order seasons. They must be finishing on when the next lot of events finish. What's going to come after that? Maybe another repeat something, and maybe get a Toy Story, or maybe get an Incredibles, or who knows? Or maybe there's going to be another new event. I really don't know. Then they end saying Lion King coming soon, which is going to be later today. So I'm saying that's probably when this is going to go live. And then Sorcerer Stones coming through. So as with the changes to the Sorcerer Stones at the top with the recipes and things, they're coming. They are coming. But we'll have to see. So let's jump in game and we'll see how the Sorcerer Stone recipes currently are. We'll also have a quick little... No, we don't really need to have a look at where the elite nodes are. We're told exactly what that is, but we'll go have a little quick talk about Mufasa, and maybe I'll do a separate video on that. Alright, so with the Sorcerer Stone recipes, that is what happens when you click on these stones here. And yet again, if you haven't seen my Sorcerer Stone video, go and check that out. I go and explain this all in a decent bit of depth. But you pretty much click on that little circle character with a stone outline on any of your character screens, and then it takes you to this. You can actually check by clicking any of these stones, even if you don't have them, and they can show you what buffs they'll give to the character if they were applied. If you hit the craft button, it shows you what is taken, what the recipe is to create it. And now this is saying that, hey, we're going to give 15 little stones, or the chipped stones, to get a flawed stone. And then from the flawed stone you need to have 10 flawed stones to make a full stone. And then they also add in things like scrolls and these other little stardust. So maybe they're just changing the stardust or the scrolls, or maybe they are changing, these little shards, or maybe they're changing the amounts. I actually don't know, and I'll be interested to find out. But we can't wait to see how the stones will be changed and implemented. And it's nice to see they are making changes going forward. But, ooh, exciting times. Get ready. Go check out the Sorcerer Stone video if you haven't already. I'll put it in a link in the description. Top of the description. I'll chuck it down there. So if you haven't seen it already, go and check that out. And I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think of these buffs and nerfs? I'd just like to talk about Spirit of Mufasa quickly, and I'll maybe do a separate video on that. But there's been some talk about why is Spirit of Mufasa being next. If you only have him at level 1, or level 2, or level 3, that's kind of like, yeah, you won't really notice how OP it is. You'll think, yeah, it's good, but it's not that OP. Grants helpful effects to all teammates, based on their role. And if Simba is a teammate, he receives all of the effects. So then it goes through and says offense get offense up, defense get defense up, support roles get guaranteed crit. Now, where this was nasty was you use this on a full team and they'd all get their buffs, but also at level 4, just up there, 50% chance for each teammate to gain evasion. If half your team gains evade on top of all the buffs, when all the other spells have been nerfed and are doing single target damage, the evasion was nasty on top of all the extra buffs. And especially when things like foul play are doing far less, and all these other spells are doing far less, and then this one was giving so much, that is where it started to get OP. So I was actually going to be looking to head towards getting this maxed so I could do it. I need another 100 tokens to get it maxed. And now that it's getting a nerf, it's kind of gone back into the basket of, do I really want it? I'm 100% glad that they nerfed it before it became available this time. And I think a lot of the community are happy about that. And it's nice that they are making changes to the way they're doing things. So making the changes before it became available again, before people went and poured all their money into getting this, and then have it saying, okay, no, in a later spell rebalance, which I'm saying there's going to be one coming for things like Wild Imagination, there's going to be some coming for maybe Dad Pants, there's going to be, the Cauldron's going to get fixed. Just by what's happening in the game, there's probably going to be more too. So I'd say before they're trying to get this in before the next rollout of spell nerfs or buffs or rebalances, so there's no more issues, that people know 100% that things are changing before they spend money on it. And that is a good thing. That is a good thing. But I would like to hear from you all. Jump down in the description below, or jump in the description, what am I talking about? In the comments. I want to hear from you in the comments below. And what do you guys think about these changes? Can't wait. And I'll do a separate video on Spirit of Mufasa before the changes, before this goes live. So you can actually see what it was like. That's going to be nasty. One last thing to add. Glue just released this new design for the stones. So this is the changes that they mentioned. We don't have to wait and see. Chip stones T1, flawed stones T2, regular stones T3. So that's all the same. Now the upgrade materials, they've actually made it specific. So they've made specific ones for each of the stones now. So it's not one generic one that you just saw me go through. There was one generic one for all of them. Now it's a specific one for each of them. So it's going to be more limited to get stones and be able to level them up. You're going to have to work towards leveling up each type of stone. But also, it'll be interesting to see how the stone events work now, because most likely each of the different type stone events will give you the different typed mats. So that's kind of way that they're going to be heading. So that's interesting in itself. So that gives us a little bit more sight into how the stone events are going to be. They're going to give like maybe the most basic chip stones plus some of the materials for that type of stone, whichever event it is. Like as you saw the old stone events on that stone video that I shared, is that there were different types. You get the speed ones, the damage ones, all different had their own events. So that's what it's going to be like, as well as this has gone back to 3 and then 4. So those are the changes, and we'll see you soon.